Hey guys, my name's Ariana Alam and I am a senior at the high school and I'm a member of REACH.
Hi guys, my name is Kara Penquay and I'm also a senior at the high school and I'm a member of REACH.
So today we're going to be talking about a topic that probably applies to you right now or it will become more prevalent in your later high school years, and that's going to be sleep deprivation.
So for most adolescents, 9 hours of sleep is ideal, but unfortunately very few are actually getting that much. In fact, according to US News, survey shows that less than 9% of teens get enough sleep. And the amount of rest they get decreases as they go throughout high school. In fact, a Cornell University psychologist, who is a leading expert in sleep, goes so far as to call American teenagers walking zombies because they get so little sleep. So, do a quick survey within your class and to find out how many hours of sleep your class is averaging each night.
So now we're going to be talking about a concept called sleep debt. And we all know what debt is. So that's when when you owe something to someone else. And in this case, it's sleep and you owe it to yourself. So for example, if you need 9 hours of sleep each night and you only get 6 hours that specific night, you're in debt by 3 hours. And according to a PubMed study in 2016, it takes 4 days to fully recover from 1 hour of sleep lost at night. So technically, from those 3 hours of sleep, it'll take you a full 12 more days to recover from just that small amount of sleep that you lost in one night. And then sleeping in on the weekends is not ideal, because if you're sleeping in on the weekends and then sleeping very little amount during the weekdays, your body has no sense of rhythm and it doesn't have a schedule. So it messes up your cognitive abilities and affects like multiple other symptoms. And you'll see it prevalent throughout the day. And we'll talk about it more later on in the presentation.
So, next, we're going to talk about some of the initial symptoms of sleep deprivation. So, of course, when you're sleep deprived, obviously, of course, at first you're going to feel tired and fatigued, maybe even irritable. But it can also cause you to have difficulty concentrating. So, paying attention to class is kind of hard. And you could also become very forgetful or even have reduced physical strength. So, it can even have a physical effect on you. So, my question for you guys is, how many of you have experienced one or more of these symptoms?
Okay, so now I'm going to cover some of the risks that are increased or augmented when you are sleep deprived. So it applies to all different situations, like emotional, physical, and mental responses. So some examples of physical are stroke, heart disease, and asthma attacks. And we're not saying that you're going to have these things. Just being sleep deprived for a long period of time, it will gradually lead to a point where your chances of having these issues later on in life are increased. Some physical or mental issues that could slowly occur are hallucinations, mood swings, and depression and mental illness. You'll start to lead towards it, but we're not saying that you'll have to deal with any of this if you're just really small amount. If you're sleep deprived in a really small quantity, we're talking about how these symptoms build up if you are sleep deprived for a long period of time and it continues to build and you're not doing anything to help prevent it. And one other issue that sleep deprivation can enhance is your impaired judgment. So when you're not sleeping enough, you're not going to be as alert. And so an example of this where an impaired judgment can be harmful to you and other people around you are car accidents. So if you're not alert of your surroundings, you're not paying attention to the signs around you, you're putting yourself and everyone else around you in danger as you're not thinking with a clear mind.
So, next, we're going to talk about why sleep matters on a more physiological level. So, one of the most active parts of the body during sleep is actually your brain. And when you sleep, your nerve cells are rewiring, and this helps you retain new information, and it can increase your memory of events from the day, but also your productivity the next day. And during sleep, your brain also regulates mood. So, if you're extremely sleep deprived, you're at a higher risk of having extreme mood swings. Also, during sleep, your brain increases the release of growth hormones. So most of your growing happens when you are asleep. So particularly before you're finished growing and when you are a child and a teen, it's really important to be getting a lot of sleep. During sleep, your muscles also repair damage from the day. And so, especially for athletes, it's really important to get a lot of sleep. That way, your muscles can recover from any workouts you've done that day. But also, just day to day activities, your muscles can repair from those as well.
Oh,
And it also, your brain also regulates the body's immune system when you sleep. So it can help you fight off any illnesses.
okay, so now we're going to be talking about some tips on how you can prevent sleep deprivation from persisting on throughout your and becoming a regular pattern in your day. Maintain a sleep schedule. That is so, so important. It's important for your body to have a consistent sleep schedule so it's not so it's following some sort of pattern and it gets into a habit. Avoid using your phone or looking at a screen right before bed. Avoid caffeine and sugar. Don't exercise within 2 hours of your bedtime. If you're taking naps, make sure you take naps to a limited time period. Like try to keep it shorter than 20 minutes because if you make it too long, then your normal bedtime will be disrupted and you won't be able to fall asleep at the regular time. Try to be in a comfortable environment. Always make yourself comfortable enough that you can fall asleep easily and have a good and be well rested later on in the morning. And if these problems persist or you seem to like try these prevention tips and your sleep deprivation isn't improving, always try to seek help and see a doctor.
So next we're going to talk about some time management tips that will help you if you aren't getting enough sleep simply because you don't feel like you have enough time. One of the major things you can do to manage your time better, and this is something that we all hear all the time, but do your best to avoid procrastination. So some ways you can do that are just like making a schedule and really sticking to it, but also it helps to prioritize your tasks so you can get done the things that you need to get done for the next day or maybe the next couple of days, but then you can also make sure you get enough sleep rather than simply just like working ahead super late into the night. Another thing that always helps me is I like to set time limits to each task. So I like actually set timer on my phone and like give myself a certain amount of time to finish my math homework. And that helps me just stay focused on what I'm doing. Another thing that is always really helpful is to stay away from bad distractions. So video games or games on your phone. For me, it's normally like YouTube or TikTok. So sometimes I even just like put my phone in a different room and that can keep me more focused on the work that I need to get done. Another thing you could do though is to give yourself a reward after you complete a task. So sometimes I set my phone in the other room and then I tell myself that if I can finish my homework, then I'll let myself watch a couple of TikToks. And so sometimes just that reward helps me like try to get through my homework more efficiently. That way I can get to the reward at the end.
Okay, so now we're going to be answering a few questions that you guys had and sent in to us. So the first question is, does lucid dreaming give sleep deprivation? So lucid dreaming often occurs during your REM sleep. So this is a certain period during your sleep cycle where you have rapid eye movements and your brain is really active. So your brain is still active and your sleep quality is affected. So that may be the cause as to why you're still feeling tired in the morning.
So the second question we have says, it's hard for me to stop what I'm doing and get some rest at night. So what could help me get better sleep? So the first thing I would say to do is to think about the consequences that will occur in the morning after staying up and doing homework rather than going to sleep. So if you get enough sleep, it'll be easier for you to focus in school and it'll be easier for you to perform and do tests and retain information. And so you won't have to work as hard, like reteaching yourself things because you'll understand it better the first time around. So definitely pay attention to the tips we talked about in the time management slide and try to maybe break up assignments into multiple days so you can manage your time and get it done by the deadline, but also get enough sleep.
Okay, so the third question is, what are the major causes of sleep deprivation and who is the most likely to suffer from sleep deprivation? So these questions kind of go hand in hand. The person who or the people who do suffer with sleep deprivation the most will probably have one or more of these causes of sleep deprivation in their daily routine. So there are multiple causes, as we mentioned in this presentation. Mental illness could be a huge factor. Procrastination, time management go hand in hand. Though if your time management skills aren't the best, that is probably going to be one of the main causes of as to why you're not getting enough sleep at night. Staying up on your phone or looking at a screen right before bed, those can be harmful for your eyes, and like it will disrupt your sleep pattern, as it'll cause you to go to bed at a later time than you usually would. And just like in general, a lack of discipline is a leading cause of sleep deprivation. It's important to keep yourself in check, make sure you're following a schedule if that helps you, and try to keep your procrastination and other like distractions to a minimum.
So the next question is, what is the most dangerous side effect of sleep deprivation? And I feel like the most dangerous side effect is the lack of clarity or judgment, like cognitive ability. And as we said earlier, like having that lack of judgment could lead to car accidents when you're driving, and things like that. But also, it's just poor decision making. So, and it can also lead to mental illness. So there's a lot of different side effects, and it's a little bit subjective as to what you think is the most dangerous one. But definitely that judgment, the impaired judgment, can affect your everyday life.
Okay, so our last question is going to be, I've been told all of my life that I'm a short sleeper because I can run fine off of 5 to 6 hours of sleep. Is this a real thing? Yes, short sleeper syndrome is actually a real thing, but disclaimer, self-diagnosing is dangerous. So don't also always try to talk to a doctor if you think that there is an issue or you have some sort of problem that you want to clarify. Just because you can survive off of low sleep, that doesn't mean it's ideal for your body. Always try to get the right amount of sleep for your age group and try to be well rested, because sometimes if you're sleep deprived, you can't really tell, and it may seem normal to you at the time, but once you get the right amount of sleep, you'll see a difference.
And for me personally, I have also been told by my family and friends that I'm a really high energy person and I just don't need as much sleep as like my siblings do. Like I can do fine on 5 to 6 hours of sleep. And I really fell into that like trap and like especially my freshman and sophomore years where I like didn't get a lot of sleep and I was constantly sleep deprived and I would like perform not as well as I wanted to in school and I like never really could figure out why. And so my junior and senior years, I've really focused on like getting enough sleep and going to bed early and not like staying up late just to like get ahead on my homework. And I've actually noticed like a drastic increase in grades and like even just paying attention in class is so much easier. And just like my clarity in general, while I'm in school and like trying to critically think, like it's so much easier. So I would encourage you that even if you can survive off that low sleep, to really try to get as much sleep as you can, and especially like try to get like the right amount for your age group, like Rihanna said, because you'll actually notice that it does make a difference in your everyday life.
All right, so that's all we have for our presentation today. Thank you guys for listening. We have attached a sleep log that you guys can take home with you. It's basically just like a chart that you can record the amount of hours you aim to have each day versus the amount of hours that you actually get. And it's really helpful to just like have a chart and like you can like see how much like sleep you actually should be getting versus how much you are actually getting. So I think your teacher will have a copy of that, but that's it. Thank you guys.